You know, if you come to San Francisco, forget that old song, Wear Flowers in Your Hair. The thing you have to do is go to see the world's longest-running musical revue, Beach Blanket Babylon. And here with me tonight is one of its stars, the incomparable Curt Branom. Curt, welcome.
Thank you, David. It's
Now,
nice to be here.
You weren't always King Louie and a host of other characters in Beach Blanket. You were a little business boy. We want to hear, how did you become this incredible performer at Beach Blanket?
Yeah, it was a strange little journey because my parents did not want to support the arts. They loved me being in theater in high school, but they wanted me to have a job.
And where was this?
This was in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And so when I went off to college, they said, you're going to business school. That's all you're doing. You're going to have a job when you get out. We're tired of supporting you. So I went and I became a CPA. I thought, well, I'll just do the hardest thing I can think of possible. And so I became a CPA. But I couldn't get it out. You can't get theater out of your body.
Not if you're gay.
You just, there's so many things, you can't get out of your body, and that's one of them. So I fought it for many years. So I was a CPA for 5 years at a Big 8 accounting firm. Moved out to San Francisco because I needed to come out. So in '84, when I graduated college, I needed to come out, and I spent some years in Palo Alto because we'd moved out to Palo Alto for my earlier years, and I wanted to come back to California. So I came back here, and then I found some friends that were very gay and very much in theater, and I was like, I went to see shows and I went, I know I can still do this.
Yeah.
I know I can still do this.
Yeah, I remember, I believe it was on the Corbett 37 bus
Right,
back in the
right.
80s. And
Up to
running
Twin Peaks.
Up to Twin Peaks, where we both lived, and running into you, and you said, you know what, I'm actually taking singing lessons, and I'm going to have a show at the Blue Muse. And I was like,
You
wow,
remember that?
Of course I do. My mind isn't totally gone. But, you know.
I'd forgotten about that.
But I remember thinking, wow, what a stretch.
That
Accountant to musician.
Yes, and the thing about when you do a solo show, boy, is it all about growth and finding yourself, because you find that the music you choose is so reflective of who you are and where you are and what you've done and maybe even where you're going.
Right.
So
what songs did you choose?
And it was Les Mis years, I had to do, and it was the '80s, so there was some sadness, so I had to do Empty Chairs and Empty Tables.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I can't believe it. But then I would take women's songs too from musicals. I love to do women's songs. I love to do that song from Baby that I can't remember what it is.
Right, well, I think, we all have an inner torch singer.
Absolutely. And I love to do comedy. That was where, when people laughed, I was in shock, because I was like, oh my God, that was funny?
Yeah.
And then I went, well, if that's funny, is this funny?
Yeah.
And I loved hearing people laugh.
Right.
I loved making them laugh, because I think when you laugh, sometimes you forget.
Right.
You forget just for a moment, and it's this release that your body has that is fantastic, that we all need. So I found in those shows too that I could do comedy, and then I started to do more of the comedic stuff because it really worked. I didn't have this fabulous voice. I had a good voice, that I could make it work, and the comedic stuff just kind of came naturally.
But now, when you were in school and you were studying accounting, were there any minors in theater here? I mean,
yes.
like.
Oh yes. Oh, I ran over to the Meadow School of the Arts at SMU. I was at the Cox School of Business, and right across. It was this karmic thing that I had to look at across the quad. The Meadows School of the Arts at SMU. Right. But I went over there, because I missed singing so much. So I went and studied with Katrina Akos, this woman. I think she was Hungarian, and she had the babushka,
And now she certainly does when you describe her.
And she would sit there and just listen to me sing. And a couple times she dragged me up in front of the chorus people, and they threw me in the chorus.
Right.
So I got to go over there and be in the business school and then sing in the chorus. So I was really thrilled.
Now, by the time you got onto the stage at Blue Muse, had you already seen Beach Blanket Babylon?
Yes, because I had seen it probably like '83, '84 when I came out to visit. And I loved it. I mean, I loved it. But I just thought it was too much for me. That was not what I had done. I had done the book musicals.
Yes.
I had done things that were tailored really for me, and I had done the old book musicals.
Right.
So this was like, wow, that's amazing.
Right.
I want to do that. But at that point, there were the shapes in the show were very different. They did not have any shorties, you know, and I'm not a tall guy.
Right.
So it didn't, I saw it and I went, I just know I'm not the right type. You know,
Right,
it always
right.
comes down to that type thing.
Yeah. Well, how do you describe your type?
The quirky best friend, you know, definitely not leading man, even though I've done it a couple of times, but in like a quirky show, like Sweet Charity.
Yeah.
You know, I can play Oscar.
Right.
You know, that's a leading man that I could play. He's not Burt Bacharach. You know, he's not, who am I thinking of?
Burt Reynolds?
Well, he's not Burt Reynolds.
Burt
you know,
Bacharach, that's fabulous.
He is Burt Bacharach. You know, that's me, Burt Bacharach.
You can put that into something. There's a joke there somewhere. There really is. Now, when you I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm not the leading man type. I'm the quirky, fun leading man.
Now, when you first auditioned for Beach Blanket Babylon, Steve Silver was still alive,
He was
correct?
still alive. He called me back. He was incredibly gracious. I had learned a time step in my kitchen, thank God, to Tony Stroh, who was in the show then. He's like, you got to know a time step, honey. You just got to know a time step. I didn't know. I hardly had taken any dance, you know, and I'd watched the auditions before. I'd gone and watched them before, and I'd seen that Steve would just make you do a time step. And I'm like, what is a time step? You know? And so Tony taught it to me in my kitchen up on Crestline.
Right.
And Steve was fabulous. He was so great. At that point, it was Sonny and Cher, so he was having me try the Sonny stuff, you know. And he was very nice, but I don't know if they really had any openings at that point. So I did not get it at that point, but he was lovely.
Now, of course, Beach Blanket Babylon, for all two people who are watching this that don't know what it is the world's longest musical review. Now, 35, 36?
38 plus.
Wow.
We'll be 40 in 2014.
I mean, older even than us.
I know.
No.
Oh, can you believe it? Isn't that
I know,
nice?
hard to believe. So now
So
you
we're
are,
gearing up probably for a very large celebration.
I would say, and I've seen Beach Blanket now 30, 35 times.
Yeah.
And you play many roles in the show,
Yeah.
but you are known as being King Louis, perhaps
Right.
the gayest character. And I've...
No, David.
Oh,
no.
you don't think so?
I think the costume is gay.
Okay, well, it's the gayest costume. but where I'm going with this is I have seen that character over now 25 years.
Yeah, with
evolve,
many different people.
With many different people. Yeah. And in our last few moments, talk to me about, do you think there's anything political about that character?
Well, I do think he carries a torch for being who you are. I do think he carries a torch for embracing who you are, having power with who you are, enjoying who you are, and partying with who you are as a person. When I come out, all I want to do is fill that room with love and joy and have a ball, because Louis is here to party and embrace himself for who he really is. And he loves who he is.
Right.
He loves who he is.
Right.
All his faults, all his pros and cons, loves them all.
And you've got them all there.
I try.
Yeah.
I try.
Well, it's been wonderful speaking with you. We're here with not only King Louis, but really Curt Branom, a unique character here in San Francisco. I'm David Perry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.